Welcome to the He's Got Issues Independent Comics Edition number 142.3. I'm John Cooney here to preview new independent comics being released October 8th, 2014, beginning alphabetically with Boom Studios and Adventure Time Banana Guard Academy number 3 of 6. The Banana Guard trainees get a well-deserved R&R and they're going to make the most of their time. Too bad a flat tire is going to get in the way of that. It's a crazy weekend for these cadets and it looks like it's only going to get worse. The Ice King wants to help. Next, we have Big Trouble in Little China number 5. Jack Burton's strange quest may be over, but it resulted in the return of an old nemesis. Burton, Wang, and friends must split up, for an entire army of assassins is out for their blood. For Jack and Wang, that means one thing: road trip. We've also got Black Market number 4 of 4. Everything's looking up for Ray. He's off the hook from the murder of Hotspot. The crooked cops aiming to blackmail him have been framed and incarcerated, and he finally has enough money to afford treatment for his wife's MS diagnosis. So why do all these problems pale in comparison to the favor that he now owes Biochem, kidnapping the world's strongest hero, Ultra? Next, we have Bravest Warriors number 25. It's the second anniversary issue. Catbug is evil. There's no other way around it. There's definitely something wrong with the little guy, and it's up to the Bravest Warriors to figure out what it is before it's too late, or maybe it's too soon. Crazy things are happening, but it's just getting started for this crew of teens. We've also got Dead Letters number 5. In this new story arc, Sam's second case begins here, as the freshly spawned gang war between Ma and Jones rages across the supernatural metropolis. Sam is enlisted by the new powers that be to infiltrate the amorphous boroughs of the city in search of a terrorist cell planning to wreak havoc in the fabric of here itself. Next, we have Fraggle Rock Journey to the Everspring number 1 of 4. When the water supply of Fraggle Rock mysteriously runs dry, the Fraggles have to journey deep into the caves of Fraggle Rock to find the fabled Everspring, where the adventure awaits and no Fraggle has gone before. It's the beloved characters of Fraggle Rock and their biggest story yet. We've also got Hexed number 3. Lucifer's harrowing trip to the Shade has left her depleted, devastated, and worst of all, an entire dimension away from Val and Reyna as they're caught in the middle of a psychotic Grey family feud between Madame Cymbeline and her newly released brother, Yves. Next, we have Teen Dog number 2 of 8. High school is tough, man, even when you're teen dog. Teachers, homework, and bullies are always trying to cramp your style. But hey, that's what buddies, pizza, and good times are for. Gotta keep the good vibes going. And we've got Thomas Alsop number 5 of 8. Thomas has an knack for rubbing people the wrong way, but has he gone too far this time? In order to save the souls of the 3,000, Thomas must go to extremes and sacrifice everything he's built, including his own fame. From Dark Horse Comics, we've got Abe Sapien number 17. People think Abe Sapien's transformation means he's connected to the monsters taking over the world. Now returning to the town where he was shot, and where his transformation began, Abe seeks sanctuary with the strange group of survivors. Next, we have Action Philosophers number 1, 1 for $1 edition. Get a taste of Fred Van Lent and Ryan Dunleavy's award-winning best-selling Action Philosophers. Read about Plato, the wrestling superstar from ancient Greece, and learn the lessons of Nietzsche, the original Burmeisch. We've also got Aliens vs. Predator Fire and Stone number 1 of 4. As the mercenary crew of the Percys leave the horror of LV-223 behind them, one passenger reveals a terrible new danger, and the crew soon find themselves in a deadly struggle between predator and prey. Next, we have Creepy Comics number 18. It's Uncle Creepy's golden anniversary, and his loathsome legacy lives on in this milestone of macabre monstrosity. Prepare for Poultred Productions from Fred Van Lent, Karina Becco, Peter Baggy, Alt Baldassar, and a horrible host of sinister surprises. Don't miss out. We've also got Dark Ages number 3. Fortified in a secluded monastery, the heathen mercenaries discover a strange new ally in their war against the demons from the sky. But this new discovery reveals a conflict much older and much more deadly than any of them could have imagined. Next, we have Grendel Vs The Shadow number 2 of 3. The excitement continues as Eisner Award-winning creator Matt Wagner spins a tale from the golden age of pulp adventures. The era's most iconic crime fighter and master of darkness, the Shadow, faces a foe who may prove to be his match, and more, the masked and mysterious menace known as Grendel. And we've got X number 18. X has been abducted by the skin traders. Their gruesome animal-faced leader is determined to get a slice of X's famously resilient flesh. While Lee and Rudoso mobilize to track down X's whereabouts, X fights tooth and nail to keep a deranged doctor from getting under his skin. From Dynamite Entertainment, we've got Army of Darkness Convention Invasion one-shot. Ash Williams has been to hell and back, lost the woman he loved, and battled his evil clone. But despite all these trials, nothing can prepare him for the terror of Comic-Con. When a cosplay sorcerer takes his role-playing a little too far, Ash has to team up with a trio of comic readers to save the con and New York City from a dead-eyed invasion. Next, we have Blood Queen Annual 2014. Years before the rise of the Blood Queen, the king's father fought a great battle to protect the witches and the daughters of the line. When another kingdom makes a bid to exterminate the witch class, King Tybor stands against the monstrous cruelty. His defiance leads to open war, setting the stage for events that are unfolding monthly in the pages of the Blood Queen. Watch as the lines are drawn, as magic and steel choose sides, and as the destinies of kingdoms are decided. But then what about Elizabeth and the Elder? How did the woman that will become the Blood Queen come into the Elder's keeping? Witness the pivotal events that began Elizabeth's mission and set her on a dark road. It's all here in Ghosts of War, the Blood Queen Annual. We've also got Chaos Bad Kitty one-shot. Before Detective Catherine Bell became a dedicated officer of the law, she was a young troubled girl with a dangerous coping mechanism in the form of her alternative psychopathic personality, Kitty. As an adult, Catherine has managed to bury her dangerous alter ego deep inside her mind while she pursued the enigmatic drug lord known as the Domico. Few people have ever seen Domico in person, and his vast network of criminal operations have made him impossible to locate until Catherine finally has a lead which puts her in harm's way. After a near-fatal attempt on her life, Catherine's mind is opened and Kitty is back. Catherine and Kitty now face a battle of the mind as each personality struggles to take control. Catherine strives to uphold her duty as an officer, while Kitty has her own grudge to settle, and Kitty's never let morality or the law get in her way of getting what she wants. Next, we have Chastity number 4. What could be worse than being half vampire and half human? How about high school? And while Chaz has to reacclimate herself to a normal life, Alice continues her flagrant attacks on humans. But this has caught the attention of the Enigmatic Council as well as a new cop on the case with a few secrets of his own. We've also got Evil Ernie number 1. Teen psychopath Evil Ernie is dead, resigned to hell where he belongs. But when reality is threatened by an evil even the devil can't handle, he calls on the only weapon that can prevent total megadeath, Evil Ernie himself. Mistress Hell has found new love, 3 of them, and the anti-hero to end all anti-heroes is the world of chaos's only hope. Next we have X-Con number 2. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Once Cody Pomeroy had LA's elite eating out of his hand, now he's sucking grime from the bottom of their pools. But that's just his parole gig. His real job? Sneaking away from the watchful eye of Quamando, his hot parole officer, and scouring the bars of Venice Beach to find an arsonist who's been torching pads all over town. Then Cody walks into the wrong condo, and dreams of freedom pretty much go up in smoke. We've also got Jennifer Blood, Born Again, number 3 of 5. Jennifer Blood's resurrection is cut short when her imposter's violent activities unite all of Los Angeles' gangs against her, turning the whole town into a deadly Jennifer Blood hunting trap. Teeth-gritting, gun-packing vigilante justice from Stephen Grant, the man who defined the comic book genre with his seminal 1985 Punisher miniseries. Next, we have Terminal Hero number 3. Now in the United States, the nightmares keep coming for one-time terminal case Rory Fletcher. In desperation, he leaves Rory Fletcher behind and assumes a new identity, which comes with a ready-made beautiful wife and cute kids. All seems well until visitors from his past life, and a horrific reminder of his cancer, threaten to destroy his newfound happiness. Meanwhile, back in England, nervous Manesh and beautiful damaged Mia get dangerously mixed up with the strange treatment Q. And we've got Vampirella Fairy Tales number 1. While exploring the Transylvania castle she's recently inherited, Vampirella discovers a strange old book of fairy tales that seems oddly familiar. Upon opening it, she is sucked inside its pages and lands in a weird alternate reality where she is compelled by a disembodied voice calling itself the storyteller to live out each of the fairy tales if she ever hopes to return to reality. In the first issue, Vampirella is surprised to discover herself married to an infamous wife killer in Bluebeard's Blood by Devin Grayson, and then finds herself both the belle and the bitch of the ball in Cinderella, Vampirella by John Shirley, award-winning horror and science fiction author and screenwriter for the 1994 cult classic film The Crow. From IDW Publishing, we've got Danger Girl Mayday number 404. It's the explosive conclusion to the most dangerous story of the year, Return of the Traitorous Natalie Kessel. Recovered and resuscitated by the enigmatic April Mayday, will Natalia join forces with her to destroy the Danger Girls? And will Abby be forced to cross over to the role of a villain? Find out in the concluding chapter of the latest and greatest Danger Girl series. Next, we have Dead Squad number 1, the latest from Darby Pop. 3 highly trained Delta Force operators embark on a high-stakes mission to obtain a mysterious serum, but when they are betrayed by one of their own, securing the drug immediately becomes a matter of life, death, and their own resurrection. We've also got G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero number 207. Crimson Guard members have been infiltrating the nation for months now, and Cobra Commander prepares to spring his plans on an unsuspecting G.I. Joe. Next, we have Haunted Horror number 13. You're out of luck if you buy this unlucky 13th issue of Haunted Horror, jammed full of nasty, gross, scary, inappropriate, disgusting, lurid, banned comics from the 1950s. We're not responsible if possessing Haunted Horror gets you in trouble with your local PTA, religious groups, your 4th period English teacher, Boy Scout leaders, crusading psychiatrists, book burners, or other censoring zealots, or your mom. You may be grounded for life. We've also got Killogy Halloween Special number 1. The critically acclaimed horror comedy and soon-to-be animated series is back with a vengeance with a special Halloween one-shot. Devil-locked horror punk Doyle Wolfgang von Frankenstein, formerly of the Misfits, stomps through the apocalypse like you've never seen him before. Written and illustrated by rockstar-turned-comics creator Alan Robert of Crawl to Me, this issue also includes a 10-page first look at his much-anticipated miniseries, The Shunned One, coming soon. Next, we have My Little Pony Friendship is Magic number 24. Discord knows Fluttershy loves animals, so decides to take her and the Cutie Mark Crusaders on a trip through time so they can see some of the amazing animals of Equestria's past. Unfortunately, some of them aren't so friendly, and Discord can remember how to get back home, right? We've also got October Faction number 1. The creative team behind Monsters and Madman would like to introduce you to the ongoing adventures of retired monster hunter Frederick Allen and his family, which include a thrill killer, a witch, and a warlock, because sometimes crazy is the glue that binds a family together. Next, we have Ragnarok number 2. Walter Simonson's grand epic continues. The Black Elf Assassin and her team of trolls, orcs, and renegades has reached to the fortress of the edge of the world. Their masked employer gifted them with the spells necessary to break into Cliffborg to destroy whatever or whomever they find within. And in a stone chamber surrounded by a field of stars, they come face to face with a myth all but forgotten in the wake of the enemy's victory at Ragnarok, a myth more dangerous than anything they could have imagined. We've also got Star Slammers Remastered number 7. Walter Simonson's classic tale continues. The starship Meredith is cranked up to nearly light speed and is taking aim at the heart of the Empire in a suicide mission that looks to put an end to any number of promising careers, our heroes included. Be here for The Minonian Agendas, Chapter 4, The Ship. Next, we have Star Trek New Visions Volume 3, Cry Vengeance. John Byrne continues his new Star Trek photo novel adventures with 2 tales for the price of 1, as the crew of the Starship Enterprise faces a menace 3 million years in the making, plus something more recent but no less deadly, presenting a follow-up to the classic episode The Doomsday Machine, as well as Robot, a brand new tale of murder and mystery. We've also got Transformers vs. G.I. Joe number 3, Cybertron Infested. The Transformers homeworld is crawling with tiny green invaders from the planet Earth, the G.I. Joe team. Also this issue, Funeral for a Friend. Many Autobots and G.I. Joe soldiers have fallen in the line of duty, but you've never seen a send-off like this. Next, we have View Wars number 1, 100 penny press edition. Just in time for the second big story arc, get the story where it all started for only $1. But be forewarned, there's no sparkling vampires in this world. We've also got View Wars number 6. Big Dog and V8 are the top gunslingers in the escalating battle with vampire terrorists. But the hunt for a new and intensely brutal species of bloodsucker puts them in the crosshairs of the world's most dangerous special operative, Joe Ledger. New York Times bestselling Jonathan Mayberry brings the hero of his internationally popular series of weird science thrillers to the thick of the hunt. And we've got Winter World number 3. Chuck Dixon and Butch Geist take you deeper into the next ice age as Scully and Wynn find a refuge of sorts in the last place on Earth that's warm. It's a communal paradise of farmers and fishermen who have made heaven from hell. But is it all what it seems to be? Or, as Scully believes, is it way too good to be true? From Image Comics, we've got 68 Homefront number 2 of 4. Horror haunts the heartland in this action-packed conclusion to the 68th Peace and Love story arc. Harbinger, Pennsylvania, home of the Heralds, transforms from peaceful American small town to undead slaughterhouse as a pep rally becomes a battleground, a family doctor stands guard over his personal gateway to hell, and a teenage couple fights for love and each other amongst monsters both supernatural and all too human. The second of 4 issues featuring a script by series writer Mark Kidwell and gruesome artwork by Kyle Charles and Jay Photos continues to bring 1960s zombie horror back to the world. Next, we have Birthright number 1. For the Rhodes family, losing their son was the most devastating thing that could have ever occurred, but it couldn't prepare them for what happened when he returned. Skybound's newest original series turns fantasy into reality in this extra-sized first issue for just $2.99 by creator-writer Josh Williamson and artist Andre Brayson. We've also got Black Science number 9. Conflict is the only constant as the Dimension Knots are embroiled in a brutal war which threatens to engulf their fantastical land they are stranded in. But how can they uncover the horrible truth about the Pillar when every second is a fight to survive? Next, we have CBLF Liberty Annual 2014, a comic book legal defense fund benefit book. Used your imagination lately? Calling all dreamers and dancers, wanderers and wanderers, free speakers and free thinkers to this year's CBLDF Liberty Annual, compiled by former Marvel editor and ardent Imaginaut Lauren Sankovic. Within the pages of this year's annual, a merry band of legendary creators has crafted 48 pages of thrilling adventure, powerful drama, and gut-busting hilarity that's not only all new, but all ages. So grab your favorite life form and gather round for a series of tales to test the bounds of your imagination and celebrate our freedom to do so. All proceeds from this book benefit the important First Amendment work of the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, who've been fighting censorship in comics for over 25 years. We've also got Copperhead number 2. Find out why Brian K. Vaughan says Copperhead is the best Image debut of the year and my favorite new comic, as Sheriff Clara Bronson and Deputy Boo continue their investigation of a multiple homicide just outside the Copperhead city limits. Meanwhile, Zeke Bronson gets in way over his head in the Badlands. Next, we have Cutter number 2. Cutter issues 1 through 4 weekly throughout October. What if that kid you and your friend picked on in your youth came back with vengeance to kill you and your friend? That dark, guilt-ridden fear is the core of Cutter, a cautionary tale about the sins of your past coming back to haunt you. Jeremy lives a quiet life with his wife in a rural town. Successful and stable, Jeremy is the guy next door, but he and his high school friends share a dark secret, and when that secret literally comes back to haunt them, Jeremy must confront his past and his own sanity as he comes face to face with a vicious serial killer, the Cutter. From television writer Seamus Kevin Fahey and comic writer Robert Place Napton, with art by acclaimed horror artist Christian DeBari. We've also got Dark Engine number 3. The dragon that dreams of salvation is awakened in the heart of Gigahole. The hands that made the Dark Engine are revealed, and sin becomes war. Next, we have Death Vigil number 4 of 8. Bernie was right. Claire would find friends. She would find a family with the Death Vigil, but she would gain enemies as well. Powerful enemies that have waited long enough. The Codex of the Dreamers is all but translated, and the Pale Court needs one last ingredient to put their plans in motion: Veil Rippers from slain Vigil members. We've also got Ghosted number 14. As ghosts of vengeance plague New York, Jackson and company get into an old-fashioned biker gang rumble. Time to roll up those sleeves. Next, we have Howtoon's Reignition number 3 of 5. Celine and Tuck learn the hard way they're not the only residents of the ruined city when the feral orphans attack. Can the siblings survive when separated from each other? More projects, more science. We've also got Imperial number 3, Better Than Sex. That's a party line that superheroic Imperial is towing for his protege hero in training, Mark. But even if it is better, does that mean Mark is willing to give it up, along with a lot of other human trappings? And what is the unholy menace that men call Pancho Serape? Well, actually, he's just a bad wedding DJ, but some things aren't worth fighting over, right? Next, we have Manhattan Projects number 24, Texas Roulette. In the wake of the disastrous resolution to the Cuban Missile Crisis, the scientists of the Manhattan Projects are forced to choose sides between the country they love and the people they love the most, themselves. We've also got Punks the Comic number 1. Dog, Skull, Fist, and Abe Lincoln live in a house, beat the out of each other, and frequently humiliate themselves. There's bleeding and sadness. Morrissey would likely approve. The cult hit comedy returns with new stories and a classic in the back. From Eisner Harvey nominees Joshua Hale Fialkov and Cody Chamberlain, exclusive variant cover by Eisner Award winner Rob Guillory. Next, we have Sex Criminals number 8. John and Susie have had to deal with a whole lot in their time together, but nothing can prepare them for Robert Rainbow. Actually, he's a pretty cool guy, and that's the problem. Come along and laugh and love with the Eisner Award-nominated Sex Criminals by Matt Fraction and special guest artist Chip Zdarsky. We've also got Spawn number 247. Sarah's rushed to the hospital after the unthinkable happens at her apartment. Everyone comes to her aid, but each has a separate agenda that puts not only Sarah, but also Jim in danger. Next, we have Tales of Honor number 5. The Honorverse expands to comics, the finality of the first arc on Basilisk Station. Based on the best-selling military science fiction novels by David Weber, this original comic book series continues the story of Honor Harrington as she investigates the threat to Basilisk Station by the Republic of Haven. We've also got Thief of Thieves number 24. As the kill list marches towards its conclusion, somebody's got to die. And we've got Witches number 1. Across the globe, century after century, men and women were burned, drowned, hanged, tortured, imprisoned, persecuted, and murdered for witchcraft. None of them were witches. They died protecting a terrible and hidden truth. Witches, real witches, are out there. They are ancient, elusive, and deadly creatures that are rarely seen and even more rarely survived. This October, superstar creator Scott Snyder and Jock unveil Witches and introduce you to a world of unimaginable horror in a special extra-sized first issue with 30 pages of story and no ads for just $2.99. From Valiant Entertainment, we've got Death-Defying Dr. Mirage number 2 of 5. Descent in peril, leaving her mortal body in deadly danger, the spirit of Dr. Mirage is about to enter the afterlife's web of worlds and begin the fight to win back a partner she thought she'd lost forever. But enemies lie in wait everywhere, and while demons and beasts besiege Mirage in the spirit world, an unexpected new eruption of evil threatens her life on Earth. And we've got Exo Manowar number 0. Lock missiles and zero in on this can't-miss origin of Eric of Dacia, aka Exo Manowar. After narrowly surviving the events of Armor Hunters, Exo Manowar, or what's left of him, must look to the future, but to do so, Eric must first learn the startling secrets of his past. Be here in October and learn the true violent origin of Visigoth life under the brutality of the Roman Empire. And out in trades this week, we've got The Walking Dead All-Out War Artist Proof Edition hardcover. This special edition collects the monumental All-Out War story arc all in one volume, as seen through artist Charlie Adler's raw pencils. Read the story in a whole new way, never before collected together in one single volume. Collects The Walking Dead number 115 to 126. Okay, so that's a look at some of the top independent publishers this week, but there's still plenty of other books out as well, so be sure to check out my YouTube channel at he'sgotissues.com to see both the Marvel and DC videos for this week, as well as my usual roundup of all my favorites for the week with a little more depth and insight than you get here. And if you like these videos, be sure to let me know by leaving a comment and subscribing. You can also follow He's Got Issues on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and Tumblr to see everything I'm reading as I read it. So until next week, I'm John Cooney, and I've got issues.